challenging. Everyone will be saying nice things, I hope. And if they don't, we have Navadweep and some others who are trained to take care of them. That's a warning. But when you go out and preach, a lot of people, perhaps most of the people, say no, get away, get a job. Nobody says get a job now to me. I'm too old to get a job. So it was really challenging. And this is actually the training that was very useful for my Krishna consciousness. As mentioned in the Bhagavatam, Brahmachari Gurukule Vasan Nandagurortam Archayan Dasavan Nicho. What does that mean? Our scholars. It means a brahmachari should live in the ashram of his spiritual master, Guru Kule. Vasan Danta, he goes there. But he learns Danta, how to control the senses, which is really important. And that was actually a good lesson for me, because as was mentioned, I came from quite a wealthy family. And then we had to sleep on the floor with 30 other people in the same room and share one bathroom. Great austerity for me. But it was blissful, because when you give up your false ego, at least temporarily I did, but when you give up your false ego, you experience happiness. Because this false ego and all the attachments we have are like burdens on our back, like monkeys. Some of you may be familiar in management with the monkey style of management. Anyone heard of that before? What is that style? If someone gives you a monkey, you know, you got to do this. You immediately give it to someone else. Because this false ego is a monkey like that. So not that you give your false ego to someone else. That's not a good idea. So it was an enlivening experience. Just being a servant of Srila Prabhupada, preaching Krishna consciousness, having to endure austerities, having to endure people saying no, people making fun of me. That was very purifying. And that's what we want. We want to become purified. So, Vasandanta Guroritam. Guroritam means to work for the benefit of the Guru. In my case, that's His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada. So that was my training in the beginning. Everything is based on the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. Archayan. One develops good behavior. Like there's prachar and achar. Many people can speak nicely. That's called prachar. But then achar means to act nicely. So there's discipline. And then above all, archayan, dasavan. What does dasavan mean? It means full of service. Pretty good. And fixed, ditcho. And then he learns, ultimately the last part of the verse, that the Guru is actually one's real friend. Like we hear, you're the friend of the poor, Lord and Master of the devotees, about the spiritual master. That's our real friend. So sometimes, if someone is our real friend, they will chastise us. They will discipline us, right? Just like we see in the story, this is the month of Damodar, of Manigriva Nalakuvara. Narada Muni apparently was acting as their enemy, but actually he was acting as their friend. He cursed them to become trees. But trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, and ultimately they saw Krishna and became purified. So that's a benediction. So sometimes with a guru there's something called tough love. Sometimes disciples say to me, "Guru, just be kind to me." Of course I am a lot kinder than I was years ago, that's true. I mellowed out. So, but Prabhupada actually said the Guru's business is to chastise the disciple. But Prabhupada was walking one time with Surabhi Maharaj, or Surabhi who's passed away, and he was the one who designed the Vrindavan temple and the Mumbai temple. And everyone was praising him. And Prabhupada said, "That is not my business to praise him." Actually, there's a statement. "He who praises me is my enemy." Why? People are praising us to get us to do something, to control us. So the Guru chastises us. Of course, don't worry, I'm not going to chastise everyone here. So what do we do in this situation that most of you were not brahmacharis? Anybody here was ever a brahmachari before? Not a single person probably. Anybody? Raise your hand if you were ever a brahmachari. Amritasha, were you a brahmachari? Yes? Raise your hand. Or a brahmacharini. One person amongst all of you. Wow. So what do you...
There's one there.
What? Another one?
Brahmacharini.
Oh, brahmacharini. 2 people. Haribo. We have 2 trained up devotees here. The rest of you, what does it say? Mama Janmani, Janmani Swaray. Anyway. Mohanam Janmanamante, Yanamam Prabhajate, Vasudeva Samani, Samahamatu. It's real about. For those of you who don't understand Sanskrit, it means after many learning births and deaths. So, anyway, I'm not trying to discourage you, but there is a way you can actually develop a brahmachari consciousness. Prabhupada, just about everybody here is married, or want to be married. You want to? There's a candidate there. You young girls. So, there's a way you can develop that consciousness. It's not as quick and easy as I am doing. Is using the word doing. I experience. But it's a question of imbibing, especially those of us, which is everyone here, who are members of Krishna consciousness movement, imbibing the mood of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My position is, again, I am simply a servant of Prabhupada. Actually, to be truthful, I'm realizing that more now than when I was a brahmachari. Why am I realizing it right now? Because I see everyone saying nice things about me, and I know the real truth about myself. I know it. Yeah, I'm a rascal. But I'm devoted to Srila Prabhupada's order, will, mission. So that's the point. So I'm learning more. It's helping me develop what? Trinadapi, Sanichena, Durarabhishtuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Siddhahari. For those who don't know Sanskrit, Shashada. That means one should be more tolerant than a tree. devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer respects, that means service, to others. So I see my position as serving all of you. So I'm thinking, this is my service. I would much rather be taking prashad. No, not really. I'm happy doing this. It's not that I would rather do something else. But I'm simply identifying myself as Prabhupada's servant. You are serving Prabhupada and Prabhupada's representative, hopefully. And I am serving Prabhupada. So we're all doing the same thing. And ultimately, as mentioned in this verse that I was quoting about Brahmachari Guru Kulai, the Guru is the friend. One sees the Guru as his or her friend. So I consider all of you to be my friends. Don't think that you should become like an intimate friend. Hey, Guru Maharaj, how you doing, buddy? You know, how's the Guru business? No, should not think of that. But because there's etiquette too. But just like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would always say when someone offered him obeisances, what would he say? Does anyone know? No one knows. Dasosmi. What does that mean? I am your servant. So manina manadena. I'm actually here to serve all of you. So getting back to the point, so those of you who are married and want to be, how do you develop that mood? Because you're obviously not going to enter into the brahmachari ashram. And obviously, I don't have time to go around and chastise each and every one of you. If I tried to do that, I'd probably have a heart attack pretty quickly. So one has to imbibe the Guru's mission, attitude, mentality, and be able to personally associate with the Guru 24 hours a day on the spiritual platform. Just like we know there is Bapu and there's Vani. The physical presence is important, but it is not as important. The Vani. And Vani doesn't mean just words. It means, one of my favorite verses, Manobishtam, like the verse about Rupa Goswami. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Putale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. It actually means to understand the mood and tension. Because sometimes one can take the literal word of the spiritual master and act against the intention. You know, like Prabhupada, for example, he gave many instructions, but his instructions were basically for time, place, and circumstance. I'm not talking about instructions about chanting or anything like that. I'm talking about instructions about preaching. Prabhupada said, utility is the principle. That means his instructions would vary according to the person. One time he said to a sannyasi, for example, sannyasi's business is always to travel. Another time he said to a different sannyasi, just stay in one place and develop this project. That's why Prabhupada actually didn't want his letter book distributed, because these are all time, place, and manner instructions. So one has to be able to understand, Mano Bishtam, like Prabhupada did. Prabhupada adjusted certain details in order to spread Krishna consciousness, not the principles. What were those details? Prabhupada adjusted the number of rounds, letting ladies become brahmacharinis in temples. So many details Prabhupada adjusted that were different than the details given by his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, required that everybody living in the temple would chant 64 rounds, unless they were full-time preachers. He wouldn't let the brahmacharis use cars to go to the doctor. They had to walk. So, very strict. But Prabhupada was extremely lenient. Prabhupada lived with malechas. Malechas that had cat food in their refrigerator. That may appear shocking. What's wrong with cat food in the refrigerator? I don't know. That's malecha. Anyway, I'm not going to get into details. Okay, some of you may have pets. I have to be careful. Pull back. All right, so, but Prabhupada adjusted the detail. So it's important to be disciplined by the spiritual master. As I mentioned myself, I am representing Prabhupada. So whatever I'm representing to the devotees should be, and is, hopefully, coming from Prabhupada, Prabhupada's mood. If I do anything, I try to imbibe Prabhupada's mood. When I make a decision, I try to think. I do think, not try. Sorry, I do. So anyway, I try, I do think. Sorry, gotta praise myself. So I think, what would Prabhupada say? Would Prabhupada want me to say this, do this, talk to this person in a particular way? Just like even right now, I'm actually thinking there's a motivation just to reveal my inner thoughts. There's a motivation. What thought does Prabhupada want me to communicate to everybody? That's what I'm thinking. And that's what if we want to advance in Krishna consciousness, why should you want to advance in Krishna consciousness? Because it's the only way to be satisfied and happy. I mean, that's a material, not material, but it's a personal motivation. But just to love Krishna. To shanti cha, ramanti cha. It's your nature. That's why. I mean, I don't have a better answer. If I say to be happy, yeah, that's true too. But it's not the ultimate goal. It's just my nature is to serve Guru and Krishna. Krishna das. Dasa, 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 das. So one needs to imbibe that mood. How did you imbibe the mood? I mean, that's a hard thing. Or easy. Shru shru shrau shradananasya vasideva kata ruchi shanmahatsaya adupra punya shratya kirtana. You know that verse too? There's our local scholar. She's a repository of Sanskrit verses. Whenever I know she's talking. So anyway, that's usually how I chastise devotees, just to give you a hint. It's through sarcasm. It's not through yelling or anything like that. It's like sarcastic comments. Okay. So by hearing Shru Shru Shro Shraddha with faith, Adho Shraddha, by hearing with faith from Srila Prabhupada and other great devotees who are serving Srila Prabhupada, then we take it within our hearts. What's that verse? Bhavanti Rit Karna, Rasayana Kata, as Lord Piladev states, third canto, bottom count. Satam Prasangam Mama Virya Samvado Bhavanti Rit Karna, Rasayana Kata, Jajoshana Nasu Apavarga Vartmani Shraddha, Vatir Bhakti Amukramishati. That we take the sound vibration, not just go to our brains. You know, sometimes we hear something and then we just function on the mental platform. Just like the other day I was asked the question, how to be sincere in Krishna consciousness, how to chant sincerely. And instead of answering it, I said, what do you mean by sincerity? Because sincerity is just mental. It has to me, it doesn't mean anything. Sincere. What does it mean? I mean, practically. I know what the word means. I'm pretty expert in English. But when it comes to the heart level, what does it mean? Sincere. Like Dhruva Maharaj, I guess he was sincere. He wanted a kingdom greater than that of Lord Brahma. That's his sincerity. So it means to execute Krishna consciousness from the heart. You let that sound vibration, not just know a whole bunch of verses. Anyway, I'm modeling how to chastise people. So when I do things, I also model it. You understand? It's actually an important part of teaching, is model how to teach. So not just learning a whole bunch of verses, but to imbibe them in one's heart. Not just the verses, just the sound vibration itself. Even if you don't understand the verse, the vibration itself will purify your heart. Like Prabhupada had the devotees listen to his classes in Hindi when they didn't understand Hindi, or Bengali when they didn't understand Hindi or Bengali. Prabhupada said, you shouldn't leave the room, just listen, it's purifying. So that sound vibration contains within it the saffron dust particles of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you hear, and you develop that discipline. You talk about discipline in the beginning. Then you develop that internal discipline, that devotion, that dedication, and that is love. And then you could all be brahmacharis, even if you're married. Like Prabhupada even coined the term brahmachari grahastha. Did you know that? Some of you may have not have heard that. Brahmachari grahastha, because brahmachari means someone who's dedicated to Brahman, and I'm not talking about impersonal Brahman, I'm talking about Bhagavan. That's brahmachari. So you can all be like that. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, it doesn't matter if you're absorbed in transcendental sound vibration. Ahobat swa pachita godyan yadi vagri vartate namatubhyam. It doesn't matter. You're chanting the Lord's holy names, absorbed, letting Vanti Vritkarna Rasayana Kata Jajoshan Vasyoga Vargavartani. The sound vibration go from your ear to your heart. Doesn't matter your background. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It really doesn't matter at all. Because you can develop that internal devotion, dedication, discipline, simply by the sound vibration process. Very interesting. So what does one do when one develops that? Then one, first of all, manifests the qualities that we've been discussing the last few days. That one wants to engage, symptom that you're actually making advancement, symptom that you're actually hearing nicely, symptom that you're being disciplined. You want to serve the Vaishnavas. Your Vaishnavas say, we've been talking about these three things the last few days. You have a desire to serve the Vaishnavas. Just like, I am really happy to be able to serve all of you and communicate whatever message I have. So you develop that desire. It's so... I remember once in Fiji, okay, here's the Fiji story for those of you from Fiji. Some of you may be from Fiji. Anyway, once I was at the Suva temple. Suva's part of Fiji. So it was a Sunday feast. And I noticed that all the devotees, full-time devotees, whatever, they were actually in line first to take prasadam. And the guests had to serve them. Interesting. So as soon as I noticed that, I said, not only go back to the end of the line, you know, I have a position I can order people around. It's fun. So, GBC. A great big character. So I ordered. Anyway, I ordered them. Not only go back to that, you serve. And they said, what? Us? Sir? What about prasadam? I said, you eat prasadam every day of the week. You think you're going to starve? You're already horizontally challenged. I'm not going to explain what that means. I said, you serve. And I said, just to show them, I started serving the guests. And then I noticed that the devotees who were serving the guests had a frown on their faces. Guru Maharaj is asking me to do this. I have to do this. You know, wrong energy. Wrong energy. They were thinking, I've been ordered to do it. So the whole point is, one has to do things gladly with one's heart, joyfully. So I pointed that out to them, and then I set an example. I was going around, and I was enjoying myself, serving prasadam, and I was smiling at everybody. Almost everybody. And it was bliss. It was so much fun. You don't understand how much fun it is to serve. You want to have fun. Being served is not that much fun unless you're being served out of service like I'm doing now. But it was so much fun. So you want to have fun, you serve. So Vaishnava Seva, also Jiva Joy, they're very much connected. Compassionate Jiva. I told a story the other day about how I developed a little compassion for a millipede. Remember the story? Some of you may not have heard that, so I can tell it again. I was cooking in my kitchen, if you can call it cooking. You know, blending food up and blending. That was the whole diet. Anyway, so I was cooking in my kitchen, went to the sink, and there was a millipede. Millipede means an animal with 1,000 legs. Somehow or other they're coordinated. I can hardly coordinate 2 legs. And he has 1,000 of them. But he was in the sink trying to crawl up the side of the sink to get out. I think he came out from the drain or something like that. So I was thinking, what should I do to help this poor millipede? Actually, this is the consciousness we have to have with all living entities, Jiva Joy. Of course, I chanted to him, but I thought, if I take him outside, he'll die. If I wash him down the drain, he may die. So I was just in anxiety for that whole, for a few minutes. So that's how we should be with all living entities. And then ultimately I came back in a half an hour, and he had shriveled up and died. And I felt bad about it. And I performed the Antyeshti ceremony for him. You understand? Antyeshti. We did a cremation. No, I didn't do a cremation. So that's how we should feel. Jiva Joy. That's a symptom. Important symptom. You better tie that up again. That's an important symptom. So Vaishnava Seva, Jiva Joy. And this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. This is Srila Prabhupada's teaching. And then one gets Nama Ruchi. And they're all very much connected. So all that comes, all those symptoms come from association with pure devotees of the Lord. Hearing is the association. Seeing is not that important. It's important, but not that important. So hearing from the devotees, Mahat Seva Mahorvim Updesh. Sadhu Sangha, so many verses. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Sashtakoi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Sangha, all perfection. Sarva, this is Bengali, not Hindi. Sarva Siddhi Hoy. One gets all perfection, simply by sadhu sangha with the ears. And then, continuing that third canto verse, Sradhavra Tirulakti Anukrameshyati. Then you get bhakti ultimately. And that's the secret. To be disciplined by Krishna's pure devotee through sound vibration. The good qualities develop. You become happy. And you become so happy that you're willing to serve Krishna life after life. This is Krishna consciousness. As I mentioned many times before, I actually mentioned to the GBC meeting that I'm so happy serving Krishna that it's illegal. You know, we had any police here, I'd probably get arrested for having a good time. Isn't it? Like they give you a citation. I give you a citation for having a good time. It's interesting. So, therefore, that should be our concentration. Hearing nicely, serving nicely. So this particular event is meant to fix our minds on the hearing process. How important it is. All these different formalities, which are important. I'm not decrying them, criticizing them, giving them less importance. They all help us with the very essence. You know, we have many formalities in Krishna consciousness. Just like you have some skaras. Like initiation samskara, adhyeshni samskara, namakarana, toradam samskara. But these are all to help you fix the mind on the right consciousness. If you simply do things as a ritual, it will not help. If you are here just to have a good time at a party, and waiting until I can stop speaking, and being so pedantic, those of you know what pedantic means, like trying to instruct everybody, then you're not going to get the benefit. But if you take this as an opportunity to dedicate yourself to hearing and following this mission, and bringing others to Krishna, bringing others to Krishna consciousness, and seeing all the devotees as your family. Another point that I made to the GBC, and I continue to make, is we're all the same family. Doesn't matter who initiated you within ISKCON. We're all the same. We're all here together. We're all part of Prabhupada's family. There should be no discrimination between anyone. And if you have that discrimination, you are doing devotional service in the mode of passion or ignorance. Read the third canto of Bhagavatam. If you discriminate, I'm better, my group is better, I got the best guru, you are not performing devotional service, transcendental devotional service, or even devotional service in the mode of goodness. So we're all one family together serving Prabhupada. I'm part of the family, thank God. I'd like to have family members like this, you know. It's nice. I join Krishna consciousness and you get a big family. Isn't it? It's great. Wherever I go in the world, there's family members. The life is ecstatic. And that applies to all of you. Wherever you go, you have family members, you have a place to go, you have friends. Wow. Prabhupada has given us this society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, United Nations of the spiritual world. You understand? That's Prabhupada. So, do this, accept this ceremony as that dedication to Prabhupada's mission, bringing others to Krishna consciousness. Krishna is giving you the greatest gift. I also said at the GBC meeting, I am so grateful for what Prabhupada did. So each and every one of you should cultivate this mood of gratefulness. Wow, what did I do to deserve this great fortune that I have? You know, again, I was born in the darkness of ignorance, all of us. Kalokshudra Sambhava. We're all born in the darkness of ignorance, regardless of where you come from. And so, what did I do to deserve this? I didn't do anything. I haven't performed any pious activities. Somehow or other, Krishna has blessed me. And so, therefore, my duty, not only duty, but my more than a duty, it's just my whole life is meant to bless other people, to carry this message out to other people. And that's Krishna consciousness, and that's my address for today. Uh-oh, too long. Yeah, a whole day? You know, I think you would get a little tired. I can go on longer, but I'm not going to. So, thank you very much. I think we have, is it time, proper timing? Time's good. Okay, so, who's our, you're our MC? Okay, Navadvip is our MC, Master of Ceremonies. So thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premananda Sankirtan Movement ki jai. Everyone should be a preacher. Then you're a real brahmachari. Yeah, preach. You can preach, even a little kid can preach. Prabhupada had Saraswati, who was Malachi Prabhu's daughter. And Prabhupada had her preaching. Krishna consciousness is nice. Get people to chant. Everybody can do it. It's easy. It's easy. How did I learn? By doing it. I didn't go to preaching school. I never went to school to learn how to give a lecture. But after 6 months in the movement, they put me in the middle of the Sunday feast and said, "You're giving a lecture today."